All right, and welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series matchup of Runamok versus Insomniacs. I am Bahamut, your caster. With me co-casting tonight is the drafter, shot caller for Alaska, one of the quarterfinalists currently. Hedgie, how you doing?
You are making me blush. You're doing good.
Well, I got to introduce, the team members here because this is actually for that other quarterfinal. Whoever wins this matchup here is going to be going up against Order of the Sleeping Dragon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, and I guess that's going to be a matchup too, just overall. And then, as always, I mean, we have your matchup versus
Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Drop Dead Gorgeous. Yep. Thank you. I knew the abbreviation.
Bro. Yeah, I got you.
And that's going to be on Thursday, actually, on this channel as well. So just a lot of Div B action, and this is exciting.
I'll be co-casting that one too.
Your own matchup. But going into Brax's holdout here, we'll actually talk about realistic map choice and bans here. Actually, Stukov coming out, I really like that. A lot of good zoning potential out of that. Do you think that kind of shows a little bit anything of what they plan on doing draft-wise? Maybe shows a little bit of a dive, or...
It could show dive. It also could just show a lot of respect.
Just to the fact that he's just a phenomenal hero on that map.
Yeah.
that is
Pretty
very
much.
True.
I mean, when you're first pick, you have to consider, if you're not willing to first pick it, do you want them to pick it on the next, pick it next? That's something that you have to worry about.
That's true, and he does offer a lot of zoning and the other the flailing swipe for disengage. So just he's just a very well-rounded hero, and I'd be kind of terrified of him. And there's a Lucio hover currently, and that's kind of interesting that he's just kind of popped back into our play.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a first pick Chromie.
That's interesting that they would ban the Stukov if they were gonna first pick Chromie.
You saying
Stukov
that
really doesn't have anything on her. I mean,
and that's just a very strong matchup right there. I really like that, actually. The Lieutenant Morales and the Gul'dan together. The old battery pack, as they say. That's a little terrifying, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, they can head a lot of directions with Gul'dan Morales. It's a good base to start with.
Now, before we go into this ban phase here, I was just going to say, do you think we'll see something priority on some healer? And then I personally think an ETC would be in the cards for the side of Insomniacs.
Well, it's interesting. For once, you see Garrosh and ETC not picked up in the first 4 picks. Maybe we'll see it on this last one right here.
That's a really good point, because I can't count the number of games that I've been sitting here. It's just like, well, that's a Garrosh ban right at the start. Or, it's an ETC ban right at the start.
Especially, look, Muradin.
And that's,
man.
I really, the changes they actually did to him, I really like how aggressive Muradin has become as a tank.
Sadly, heavy impact nerf.
That is
They did a heavy
true.
impact on him.
A little bit, yeah. The stun into an 80% slow. But the other thing to consider, though, I mean, that's almost that is an Earthgrass totem at basically level 7. So that's pretty strong for an engage if you want to utilize it that way.
You have to look at the duration also. That's I think the big part.
That
It's
is
less than a
true.
second.
That is true. I guess it does.
Totem at least does it multiple times.
That is true. It just, I guess it offers a couple seconds of an option for someone to maybe get in for that dive as well. Rhaegar just to get a little bit far forward, or Chromie to land that sandblast. Sonya ban. We saw there was actually a Dahaka that popped up at 1.2, but it looks like they fear the Sonya a little bit more, or maybe they just want to prioritize the Dahaka for themselves on the side of Runamok.
I think we have to factor in, BlizzCon happened.
True.
And, everyone watches BlizzCon. That has to have an influence on these teams' choices.
That is very true. And actually, Zarya ban going to be coming out from Insomniacs.
Oh, yeah.
It,
Classic medic Zarya.
That is true. That The shielding onto Gul'dan, I mean, technically you would see actually Gul'dan being a hyper carry in some situations like that, and then you pick up that Dahaka for the solo laner. You pick up just something that just has a nice easy wave clear.
Garrosh ETC, one of them has to be picked. Come on.
I'm hoping for it. I realistically
especially on this map, Garrosh or ETC, they're both got wonderful point control.
Mm-hmm. And the displacement to just shuffle the enemy team around is such a wonderful tool to have. I mean, you can completely change the entire battle. I mean, you throw the tank into some of your backline damage a little. Ooh. Okay.
I really thought they were gonna go a tank plus Dahaka with that Sonya ban, because
that's
if
what
I
was
was
thinking.
And I was next pick, I would pick up the Sonya.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, if they don't want the Sonya, then that has to be because she's a strong counter.
And that's the thing, is I was I had mentioned, I was like, yeah, there was a Dahaka ban there for us, they hovered Dahaka for a second, so that's why I was like, oh, they're that makes sense. You ban out the Sonya, as you said, she's very strong in that situation, and then we can you go into that hyper carry Gul'dan as we talked about. I mean, the other thing to consider too is Tacet are still available also. There's a lot of these very, very strong heroes that we often see first ban almost, and they're just kind of walking through the draft. Now the question I have to ask you though, is there an option for a Junkrat anywhere in this draft?
Personally, I've been doing a lot with him. I love him. I can't wait to pull him out, and I could say that I would do Junkrat. I could make it happen. I could see it.
Because the thing that I'm curious is, so I've talked to other teams and stuff, and one of the interviews I think I did last week, I was asking why wasn't it prioritized, and the one thing that they said that it really kind of stuck out to me was that it's random damage. And when he said that, I was like, it is, at least at this point, I guess, just understanding how to get the damage out properly with him, at least on my end, especially only playing him a couple times. It does feel a little random sometimes. It feels like I'm either nailing all the shots, or I'm just completely it's spread shot everywhere, and it's just random damage.
Well, the more you play and the more consistent you become, and the less random it feels.
Okay, so maybe it's just
a matter of experience.
This early, he's still kind of being, shuffled into our current lineup of 70 odd heroes here. So
yeah,
figuring out what works and what doesn't work. I mean, there's probably some stuff that anti-synergizes quite a bit with him.
Pickup is surprising. That's even more surprising.
Yeah. Do you? I guess point control, harassment, and the overall just late game, how just dominant he can be in a fight, as well as just you then have sanctification, as well as holy ground. Those are really, really good point control and also boss control aspects too.
I mean, I feel like there might have been somewhat of a tunnel vision on the Malthael ult with this pick, because outside of sanctifying Malthael's ult, I really don't necessarily see the train of thought behind Tyrael, because Sanct is either used to be defensive against dive, or it's used to dive in and get as a enabler for dive for your own team.
Right.
Except they don't have a diving team, and the enemy team isn't it's Chromie and Vala that aren't necessarily looking to dive. So
it's kind of yeah, I see what you're saying. There's some heroes like Muradin would want to, if as we were talking about earlier in the draft, Muradin might want to utilize that dwarf toss as an engage, and then you have Malthael, and then you also have Rhaegar, but in the backline you have everyone just kind of chasing. But really quickly, we'll go ahead and introduce the teams, and we can talk more about it. On the left-hand side, we have Runamok with Voodoo on that Gul'dan. Aura will be on the Zagara. We do have Rain on the ETC. Escaflowne will be on that Tyrael, and Smithel will be on the Lieutenant Morales. On the right-hand side, we have Insomniacs with Dunstick on the Malthael. Crazy Ivan will be on that Vala. Zar Salesman on the Muradin. Kaiser B-stepping on the Rhaegar, and Crab People as well B-stepping on the Chromie. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and have that Malthael up in that top lane going up against the Zagara. So it looks like that that must be kind of the main reason I'm already giggling at that too. But I was thinking that's maybe one of the reasons why they picked up that Malthael just to go up against this Zagara.
Except it's going to be a losing matchup for the Malthael, so there has to be something else planned, or else maybe we'll see a bird in Rome.
That is possible.
That's my current thought.
And it looks like at this point, just, these teams are just going to kind of poke these lanes out and just, work on some of those early questing talents and just kind of play safe. I wouldn't expect too early of a kill, but you realistically never know if, you have a little bit of a dive up top or something, or you definitely have someone get out of position in bottom. But I mean,
Runamok wants the trades. They want to trade right now.
They want to definitely go for that kill and just kind of win this bottom lane over and get a lot of control here. That is...
Rhaegar has a finite amount of mana, whereas Medic can go on for forever.
Especially with the Gul'dan as well. I mean, they can realistically stay forever. Our Salesman getting that jump out at the last second, but also at the same time, Crab People getting a little of that backline damage onto a few of the members. Voodoo taking a Sandblast right there, and she's already at 19 stacks of her Sandblast, which is pretty insane for about 1:30 here, at least in my opinion.
No, it is a lot of stacks for this early on.
We actually have them a little bit of an aggressive move there, but it looks like they will be able to get out just fine. We'll go ahead and just peek up into top lane really quickly, see how that's going. Zagara spreading a lot of that creep around, getting very good vision set up for this beacon phase and just playing safe up against that Malthael. But bottom lane, as always, will be where all the fun is. And it looks like we actually have this is going to be kind of controlled on the side of Insomniacs. Runamok they're going to be trying to invade here, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon.
Ooh.
Crazy Ivan getting a little bit low. Actually, Rain going to be power sliding out, and he will be backing off. But Escaflowne just staying on this point, making sure that it's just not going over in any directions. Our Salesman going to have to leap out, making sure he doesn't die. Also, utilizing that level 1 trait that he picked up with that third win, so it kicks in a little bit quicker. But this will be a charge for Insomniacs.
If Runamok can heal up, Chromie is about to be on mana. This is the ideal moment.
The other thing that they're doing is it looks like they're also controlling... Oh, I think actually the Rhaegar actually stole away the globe there. At least it looked like it, but either way, I was gonna say they're utilizing that globe spot really well to keep keep Crab People in line, and but Voodoo taking a bunch of damage. Smithel staying behind the gate, making sure that he won't be the one getting poked down, and so gonna have the range for that beam. But overall, this will be 100-0 Zerg wave in that top lane. So that Zagara creep, that's just gonna get run through, I believe, by the incoming Zerg wave.
I'm really surprised to see the Malthael able to control that point.
In the top lane?
Yeah.
We'll have to peek up there.
To hold the point the entire time. I was honestly surprised to see him able to do that.
The Zagara actually looks like it's really low on mana, so that might have been one of the reasons, maybe never backing off. But it looks like actually Zagara gonna get chased here. Ara gonna get body blocked. Rain coming in with the knockback. Ara able to get out with that creep speed as well as Smithil's healing. Some damage gonna come out from Crab People, but it's not gonna connect. They're gonna get the poke onto this. But realistically, I think they're gonna lose their well, and I don't think this isn't gonna be a fort unless maybe they pick up Rain right here, getting stunned out a little bit. But it looks like he will have the power slide out, and they'll back off here, and this should be the Guardians falling,
Ooh,
and potentially Aura as well.
Medic's out of energy. You gotta respect that.
That is true. That is a good position for them to be in. And it looks like in this bottom lane, we actually have Escaflowne going up against the Dunstic, so that Malthael, and looks like Escaflowne is holding him back for now. These camps are going to be starting to get picked up on the side of Runamok. That Zagara needs to go back and definitely get full. Realistically, I was going to actually expect that Rhaegar to jump onto that camp and actually solo it while, getting the split pressure in the top lane. But it looks like they'll go ahead and just start dedicating 4-man in the bottom on the side of Runamok, and they're going to swap sides and go for camps and actually potentially lose out on their Malthael here.
I mean, I've never seen a ETC Tyrael medic whack a Malthael to death, and it looks like I won't see that today either.
For a second, you're just like, you never know, but There's some crazy dives that have happened before, and it's just like, well, I guess that's just a kill right there. But it looks like we actually do have the Zagara falling, and that's actually going to be our first kill of the game, going over to the Vala. So that will be this top fort falling here, so they'll go ahead and open up this top lane. Now in bottom, just noting really quickly, they're kind of doing the same thing on the side of Runamok, pushing in this bottom lane, opening it up for themselves. Now the Zerg waves will be in the opposite lanes, but this is still a really good way for them to get, a little bit of experience, as well as, I don't think these teams are really realistically trying to fight in between the objectives at this point.
So they, Runamok sees this. Are they going to let it happen?
That's the question.
They're not. They're not going to. They're rotating for this.
Okay, we do have...
But is it too late? Tyrael's going to try to
Tyrael diving
delay.
in. Kaiser
really
a little bit low.
Runamok.
There is the slowing sands out. Rain does get the power slide. They actually are on Desire. Salesman is... No, it looks like... Ooh, actually, Escaflowne still diving in. I was expecting them to back off there, but it looks like they really want to get this kill, especially with the beacons just starting. If they get this, this will put them in a phenomenal position. But it does not look like it's going to be happening. Dunstig actually falling a little bit low. The slowing sands do come out. Currently have a knockback from the ETC, excuse me, from the Tyrael, then the ETC, and they actually get the kill onto Malthael. Tyrael getting that kill there, and we do have Zagara trying to find a way in here. Rain just trying to get some of that damage out while Smith will get some of the healing. But it looks like Crab People just getting a little, trying to get some of that backline damage will actually be chased out by Zagara's Hydralisk there.
That was 4v5.
That
Egg was still making her way back from respawning.
They just had they just got right onto that Malthael, and he just completely got separated from the team there. So unfortunately, they're going to lose him out. Looks like he will rotate into that bottom lane, so he will hold that beacon, and I would expect that quite soon. They need to rotate out of this, unless they're trying to just prioritize their Zerg wave.
Staying?
It looks like they're going to rotate their Zagara into the bottom lane, keep the 4-man in top. So they're just going to swap their laning situation here. Make sure that they prioritize the lane of the Zerg wave. Actually, Zar Salesman going to get knocked back. And at this point, they're just going to be kind of going back and forth. Let's just go ahead and peek on this bottom. See how the Zagara will do up against the Malthael down here. Actually, no, we have, excuse me, a little bit of a fight up top. Slowing Sand's going to come out from Chromie. A little bit of damage going out onto Rain here. Escaflowne a little far forward. Going to get body blocked by the Zar Salesman, but at the same time, they start to turn it around, giving him a little bit of damage. Now, it looks like he will try and capture that point, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out. Will we lose Zar Salesman? No, he will actually be able to get through the gate and not get poked down, so that is going to be him getting out scot-free. Bottom lane will be held over by Aura at this point. Malthael looks like he did get pushed back.
This is without tens.
And at this point, ooh, this is a little risky here.
Respect the tens.
And it looks like that's what they're going to do. They're going to back off at this point. They're going to clear out this wave. This should give them tens right here. But, I mean, they're going to be going up against Avatar, Tormented Souls, Ancestral Healing, Rain of Vengeance, as well as Slowing Sand.
Stage dive?
There's a staged... No, we have a... No, it's going to be a mosh pit. We do have Sanctification, though, so that might be kind of comboed together. We actually have the Cleanse go out onto the Murd, and he also pops the Avatar farm. Some of the members are getting really low here. The Fear comes out. We do actually have them just currently getting zoned back.
Malthael's flanking.
Malthael is coming in for the flank here. He does get the Tormented Souls onto a few members. There is the stun. There's the Sanctification, but Smithil separated from the group is not in Sanctification, but the Mosh Pit does go out, and the Slowing Sands is also underneath the entire team, and they are slowly just grading. Oh, the Ancestral just right in time. They are just grading these guys like cheese. We have the Gul'dan, ETC, Tyrael all falling in that situation. All that is left is Zagara and Lieutenant Morales, and at this point, they can't defend this, and this is going to be another Zerg wave coming in.
No, not yet. So, I would like to see Medic back right now and use Medivac to bring her teammates. But I don't think it doesn't look like that's going to be the play. But still, like, so they got enough time to come back. The Zerg wave, they're going to, let's see, they're going to give this camp? Yeah, they're giving the camp.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to have to give that over. We're going to have to go ahead and restart stream after this match. Looks like it is a little bit laggy during some of these fights. I apologize. Thank you for the notes, though. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and hold over this top on the side of Runamok. They're going to go ahead and use the medevac. But at the same time, Insomniacs, they can just rotate up. They've already kind of put a couple people on this camp. So realistically, they might not lose out too much on this this charge here with, Maltfield.
A few percentage.
Yeah, a few percentage. And at the same time, they will get the clear in this bottom lane. So that's just going to be, it's just going to be rotations at this point. And these teams are going to be playing very, very safe. And realistically, this is just going to be the back and forth that we're going to have for probably quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
Until we see a boss misplay.
Chromie's finished her quest, but Gul'dan still does not have his upgraded E yet, which will play a factor in these fights.
That is true, but once he does finish those corruption stacks at level 1, that's going to be really, really powerful. They're going to go ahead and actually burn down this fort down in bottom, or this fort in bottom lane, and that gives them a little bit more experience, puts them a little bit closer. But at the same time, Insomniacs will jump up in the top, and be like, "You take a fort, we'll take a keep front gate. How about that?" So at
this keep front gate will get them almost to 13, basically there.
That is true, and so there is Escaflowne trying to go in for that chase there. They said it right. I think they were just like, we either take the fight now or we realistically just have to kind of give this over, and they're gonna try and chase this down, but actually medevac coming in as well. But there's a huge flank from the rest of the teams. Our salesmen are right exactly where medevac is going to be landing. Voodoo will be coming through with the Smithel as well. Quite a bit of damage is going to be happening during this fight, but it looks like Rain going to get that power slide through. It separates the team a little bit here. Tormented Souls will go out from the Maltheo. Looks like the Mosh Pit will go off for a second. There is the Sanctification at the perfect timing to keep the ETC alive, but it won't be enough. Ancestral Healing does connect onto Dunstic, and it looks like they're going to start chasing these members down, and the Horrify does go out, separates Maltheo from the team. Zar Salesman actually ends up going in the right direction to chase Voodoo here. They get the kill onto Voodoo, and Escaflowne looks like he will be leaving, but that is going to be another 3-man wipe. Maltheo going to that top for that charge, and it looks like they could potentially take boss at this point, and they will. That's a situation.
They have to take it fast.
Well, medevac is up in 2, but I don't think they can make it.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, they should be able to make it just in time. And it looks like they will go ahead, and maybe they'll even sniff out this camp here and invade. They do have 13 advantage, and it looks like they're going to go ahead and utilize that. Dunstic actually going right onto the camp, and some of the members actually having to back off. I think some wanted to fight here and some wanted to work on the camp. They actually leave it over.
Both teams are willing to give it up.
There we go. Okay, it looks like Insomniacs will go ahead and pick it up. They start the charge back on the beacons, and this won't be quick enough for Zagar to rotate into top. And so that's going to be a 100 to 50% Zerg wave, also with a boss in that bottom lane with that Zerg wave. That's a little rough.
That's going to be a keep.
You really, oof. At least the way that they're posturing and everything.
Isn't even damaged.
That is true, and we still have Banelings coming in too, which the burst that you get from the Banelings on that front gate it incinerates it. So we are actually going to have the side wall already taken out. We already have Zar Salesman diving into that back line. Front wall already falling down. Zar Salesman will jump right back out. Actually, Dunstic diving into the back line. Sanctification coming out to counter the Tormented Souls. We do have a huge slowing stance coming out. A ton of damage coming out from the Chromie here. We have Lieutenant Morales and Gul'dan falling here. This could potentially be game ending. The Keep has already fallen. Boss is still up. And we have a 50% Zerg wave on top of that. And 16s too.
Yep, this is going to be game.
It's just, yeah, that's gonna be the Tyrael falling. It's just one of the things that's just, I think is, as you said, that the Tyrael, I think, might have not been the best choice in this situation. Something, I honestly think like something with a little bit more maybe poker or wave clear would have been a little bit better. Not poker, wave clear. I apologize. Something like a Lunara or even like a Greymane, like that would have been a little bit better for their team. But
yeah, I mean, I guess the Tyrael really just didn't fit into what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Okay.
He was like a thorn.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just restart the stream really quick. I just have to change one thing. So we'll go ahead and disregard the delay. Alrighty, and welcome back. Had to do a little restart there. We were testing out 1080p, like just trying out full scale. We downsized the output scale, so we should be all set. But we are back. Game number 2. First one was taken by Insomniacs on Braxis Holdout. So, Runamok wanted first pick, so that is going to give map pick over to Insomniacs. So, welcome back. With me is Hedgie. How are you?
That was an intense game.
That was an intense first game, but that huge boss with 100% Zerg wave. I mean, they didn't even go back, and they were just like, that 50%, that can just push. We don't care. We're going to end off of this.
Oh, yeah. When your only wave clear is Gul'dan, if he dies, then you're in so much trouble.
And that was actually one of the first members we saw in that fight actually die too. That was Gul'dan, followed by I think Lieutenant Morales at that point. So it was just, it was one of those situations. It was like, that's gonna be it. Sorry.
Thanks for playing.
Yeah. Sorry. So we're going into Infernal Shrines here. Do you think that we're gonna see maybe some particular bans onto some of these heroes? Ooh. Actually, there's just going to be.
We're returning back to Div B world.
So we're gonna ban out the Garrosh. We're gonna ban out Garrosh. We're gonna do a realistic ban. I'm not saying the Lucio wasn't a realistic ban. It was just like I'm just surprised that he got through. To be honest, I don't think I've casted a Garrosh game since he came out almost.
No one wanted him.
Poor boy.
Which is quite interesting.
A poor boy. No one wants to be him. Now the question is, so this is something that I was talking about with another co-caster, and I think it was actually on Infernal Shrines. Do you consider Junkrat on this map? The lobbing the damage in there, much like how you see people do with Li Ming and Chromie. Do you think that might be a strategy that ends up developing over time?
Yes, I play a lot of Junkrat on this map, and I approve of it.
Because there's a good engage, there's a good disengage. He's got good poke damage. I mean, overall, I think he works really well here, and I hope that maybe he is picked up. But we actually have a Zagara ban coming out from Insomniacs. I guess they really didn't like dealing with the Zagara on that Braxis Holdout map.
Do we see Runamok try to give Insomniacs a taste of their own medicine, and they go with a control comp against Insomniacs?
Oh.
That's the question.
Just to answer Twitch chat really quickly, this is a best of 3. Runamok banned out Dragonshire. Insomniacs banned out Cursed Hollow. First map was picked by Runamok. They won the coin flip, and that was a Braxis Holdout. Insomniacs obviously won that match, and they the loser gets to pick, so they wanted first pick. So then Insomniacs took us to Infernal Shrines, and after a reset of the stream, we are here. So in after the delay, Corgi Booty will finally know where we are with the stream. But a first pick Vala, I mean, that's not a bad choice. Pretty versatile. Doesn't show much of your draft, and early priority on the mage.
Early priority on these assassins. That is quite uncharacteristic. Usually you see those warriors and supports prioritized.
Typically, if you have if you have the 1, 2, 3 slot before the ban phase, you typically see, an assassin, with a tank, and then also your healer. And, you can kind of get like a core composition. Then the other side, you get that, healer tank, and you're like, we're not going to show much of our draft with these two choices, but they're going to go for that.
They're saying no, Baja.
They're saying no.
No tank.
Tim is, by the way, shout out to Tim. Thank you for complimenting my face.
I love you, Tim.
Just ever so often in Twitch chat, just like, oh, hey, look at that. Early Greymane. I mean, Kael'thas has good, damage on the shrine. He has good wave clear. He's got good he's fine in a fight. Greymane's pretty good as well. Do you think they're just going for those, these are the heroes that we think that are our core, and then everything else is maybe, secondary, tertiary from that?
It's possible.
But this 2-3 pick, before we go into the ban phase here, I realistically would me personally, if I was the drafter here, I would say Stukov ETC. I think ETC is great for the Shrine, good control. And Stukov has good as well. But, I mean, this
You
is...
know, you're getting a lot of no's.
I'm getting a lot of no's. But this is actually something that we actually have seen in HGC as well as in other amateur leagues that I've popped into. Brightwing being prioritized on the Infernal Shrines and almost split pushing constantly. I've seen it here and there, and it's a little confusing to me.
You'll probably see Runamok pick up another support. If not, then you can't really bring out the full potential in Brightwing's ability to split. The Stukov, of course, they banned Stukov.
Would it be ridiculous if they went into a Lucio? Like, there's like the double AoE healing.
So you can do that. The downside of it is that without outside of break it down at number 1, you're 2 heroics basically. You have no way to really prevent the burst damage from coming through, because both of your healings are healing over time.
That is true.
And you're showing
Kael'thas and
Kael'thas
Greymane.
and Greymane.
Yeah.
So you have to factor in that there's gonna be a good chunk of damage coming in immediately. And without those 2 heroics, they really have no way to prevent a large amount of damage coming through. I would like to see a burst healer, honestly.
Yeah, I think something like a Rhaegar would be a really, really good choice, but realistically, I wouldn't be too surprised to see it go over to the side of Insomniacs.
So they're more afraid of Diablo than ETC. That's what that ban tells me right there. Really interesting. And, yep.
Well...
There's that.
Yep. I was thinking Ancestral and Chain Healing, but if you just want a Divine Shield and ETC or Divine Shield a Greyman, okay, bye. Hey, wow. Yeah, that's kind of terrifying at that point on the side of Insomniacs. But the Diablo here, people have prioritized him on this map, I've seen, mostly because of the fact of, there's all those tight corridors, so you can get a lot of those shadow charges into walls, and I think that is, as you kind of called it, that's something that they fear over an ETC on this map, which is a little bit surprising to me, honestly. You can utilize ETC as a global and just kind of have them stage dive your back line.
You also have to fear, one mosh pit in a corridor, that could be game ending. That my team has won multiple games off of just getting a really good mosh pit towards late game. Just go straight core.
Now, one of the things to consider here is there's a lot of just like mosh interrupt on the side of Runamok. So they definitely, I don't know if they saw the the ETC maybe coming down the pipeline, or if it's just one of those, they had those in their kits as well. But at this point, I mean, the mosh could be a little bit, it could be countered very easily. Gust, Polymorph. I believe Arthas, the Howling Blast, does interrupt because it does have a stun on it, does not?
I don't think Howling Blast interrupts.
It's okay. Maybe I'm just kind of like grouping it with. I might be grouping it with like with Stitch's Hook, because I know
it's
that.
A root, and roots don't interrupt.
Okay, because I was grouping it with the Stitch's Hook, because that is a 0.5 on it, I do believe.
Yes, that is a very tiny stun before it pulls.
But you also have the the whip from the Ariel. So, and then you can also have Rain of Vengeance from Vala. So there's a lot of options for that.
Nazebo.
I'm
surprised. I really am.
I can see how it works in this draft. It's just it's so uncharacteristic. It's not like something that you often see picked up, or even on a map like this, or even drafted in general. I mean, Nazebo's fallen off so much because of the fact that he's a 20 hero.
Yeah, and the rest of their 4 picks do not scream 20 to me. They scream early game.
And so, yeah, that's one of the things. It's just, I'm terrified of that. But here we go.
But about the mosh, if you see the ETC is going to get a 4-man, 5-man mosh, then the DS just comes down, and it guarantees you the mosh. Otherwise, you just don't use the DS.
That's true. Because, you 4-man someone, you just save that Divine Shield for... I mean, even then... It really depends. Like, I personally think, like, Divine Storm wise, like, I think it, you know, there's also some setup to it, but I think some teams also pick the Divine Storm because it's also like, if you're doing really well, like, you can definitely just kind of like continue to like dominate with, you know, that pickup as an ultimate, so long as you stay above the enemy team and, you know, you don't need that Divine Shield. But either way, Insomniacs are going to be starting out on this right-hand side. We have Czar Salesman on the ETC, Crazy Ivan on the Greymane, Dunstic will be on that Nazebo, Kaiser will be on the Uther, and Crab People will be on that Kael'thas. On the left-hand side, we have Runamok with Smithel on the Brightwing, Voodoo on that Vala, Rain will be on the Falstad, Escaflowne will be on that Arthas, and Aura will be on the Ariel, I do believe. Oh, I swapped them. Aura will be on the Vala, Voodoo will be on the Ariel. There we go. But I don't know, it's just... Divine Storm is just always an option too, and you know, you can see it on this map because it's like how you said, you catch a bunch of people in one of these corridors, in one of these pinch points, and you can completely set up a bunch of damage underneath with Kael'thas and Crazy Ivan, you know, diving in on top of that. So there's a lot of terrifying things that they can set up on the side of Insomniacs.
I think we'll see the shield, just because you normally see Storm with multiple melees on the enemy team.
So you actually have that, you know, they're already there. You don't have them, you know, kind of rotating in as well as just kind of...
It's a little hard for Uther to get a big Storm off on 4 ranged backline heroes.
I see what you're saying. Okay. We do have a power slide, though, on to Escaflowne. Going to be taking a little bit of damage. But Czar Salesman is just going to get trolled a little bit here. And they're just realistically slowing rotations and just kind of working on getting the experience here. Wow, it's throwing me off actually a little bit. Arthas caught out a little bit here. Going to take some damage, but just going to get healed up right away. Czar Salesman will have that knockback, but Polymorph will come out from Smithel. Just at this point, I mean, not much until for the next 30 or so seconds while we wait for the first Punisher to pop up here. But once that happens, I honestly, looking at these teams, if Insomniacs get on these points, I realistically think they'll hold these over. It's just if Runamok can maybe get a kill or two right before, maybe they can kind of hold it over. But I honestly give it over to Insomniacs.
The early game points, I would give it over to Insomniacs.
Ooh, there's actually something I just noticed here. Vala actually going still for that Hungering Arrow build. That's interesting. Because wouldn't you... I typically have seen in the past like a multi-shot build, mostly because of the fact that it helps with the poke on this as well as just the clear, so... Or do you just...
Hungering Arrow is more burst damage and sustain for the Vala.
Does it also... Because I know it was nerfed a little bit. We actually have a stun going on onto Escaflowne here, and he is actually starting to chase a few of these members back, and all of his teammates will start to dive in a little bit, but Crazy Ivan will push them back, and they're going to separate off of this and just kind of leave the point. But sorry, you're making a note about it.
Oh, I mean, the nerf to Hungering Arrow, it wasn't enough to make players not want to go it.
Ooh, but we do actually Crab People taking quite a bit of damage. He will be losing those convection stacks that he did not finish just yet. The whip is going to go out and save Escaflowne, but for how long? The zombie will go out. He dodges it. The spider's doing a little bit of damage, but I mean, he gets... They end up getting the kill and they save the Arthas. That was pretty strong, but overall, as I was saying, Insomniacs, they're realistically holding this over pretty strong. And it looks like this should be going over to them.
One more.
And they do have the Nazebo getting the spiders out, and that should be... them
So
getting it,
there
but
we
they're
go.
going to chase this a little bit. Is Voodoo going to get caught? No. Okay. I was thinking for a second, I was like, is Voodoo about to get caught out? But it looks like he will not be. They go ahead and pick up this first Punisher. They actually rotate the entire team into this mid for the chase onto Voodoo, actually. They get a little bit of damage. They actually throw the hammering out from Falstad, but it will not be a problem. Actually, they're diving right back onto a few of these members. Their healer is behind the gate. I don't know if they can... It was a little bit risky right there, but they go ahead and they kind of push them back. Punisher in bottom lane with the Greymane. Smithville clears it out, but it looks like they open up this gate and they will back off right away. And it looks, they actually get the root on to Crazy Ivan. Polymorph does come out. ETC does have the knockback. He looks like he'll be able to get out of there. But Escaflowne pushing the issue. And Czar Salesman taking quite a bit of damage as the power slide out. Ooh, Polymorph did go on to Uther there, maybe to prevent the healing.
Jump.
But it looks like they will be able just to kind of walk away here, and no one's going to be losing out. Crazy Ivan going in for a little bit more damage.
Wants to show off that Frankenstein.
You definitely always want to show off that skin. Now, it looks like 7s are achieved on the side of Insomniacs, but during this time, Runamok will go ahead and pick up this mid lane camp. This will give a little bit of push pressure. The next Punisher should be popping up quite soon, I do believe. It was cleared about a minute or so ago, so should be looking to see a Shrine pop up either in the top or mid lane, expectedly. Though currently in our mid, we do currently have just that camps being picked up, that was picked up, excuse me, by Runamok, and that's just going to go ahead and start pushing down there, as well as Insomniacs grabbing this bottom lane one will just kind of start this pressuring, and realistically, these teams are just, they're not looking for a fight at all. I mean, Escaflowne is maybe putting on a little bit too far out here, away from his team. We'll get the root and able to get out, but at this point, they'll just go ahead and steal away this camp and just put more pressure until actually into this mid lane. Power slide will come out from Czar Salesman there, but it looks like it's just mostly just to kind of zone them back here, and they're just going to play around this objective.
They got a fly out of it.
They did get a fly out of it at this point. Brightwing will use the phase shift as well, giving some vision, but it kind of just gives the corner there. Does show Crazy Ivan a little bit behind some of the team. Realistically, they are taking...
She just used it to escape because she stole the camp.
Oh, I didn't see that. Thank you.
Yeah, she stole top right.
I did not see that. Yep, you're right. She also, yeah, she did take Bribe, but we actually have Escaflowne taking a little bit of damage there. ETC will be zombie walled. There will be the cleanse on Nazebo here. He is getting chased by Escaflowne, but will he sacrifice himself? He does actually fall. And it looks like Dunstic will be able to get out as well. The power slide's going to go through. They get the body onto Falstad. And Voodoo looks like he is going to be the next to fall. And so that is going to be 2 members left alive. And they are going to go ahead, clear up this camp. And this is also going to give them 10s. And I think they're going to steal this camp too. Yeah, this is a lot of push pressure from Insomniacs. This is a really good spot. This is a really, really good spot for Insomniacs to be in. I mean, top lane pressure, bottom lane pressure, a little bit, at least enough where Vala's going down there. Also just to kind of side soak for those 10s. But at this point, the one thing I want to note, we don't have Phoenix.
Yeah, we got the Pyro.
We have Pyro.
We also have this going horribly wrong.
And I was saying that it was going really well for them, but it looks like they actually get the Greymane kill off of that. They only need 2 more of these Skeletal Defenders, but without the Greymane, actually, no, Vala's in bottom, so they still can take this fight. It's 4v4 currently. Power slide from the ETC. Looks like this Arthas is just going to get body blocked and just pushed out of way, but Ariel is going to be...
No 10, no save.
Just going to get... Pyro
Without Aegis, you just watch the giant ball of fire come at you.
Unfortunately, that is going to be the giant ball of fire hitting Ariel and just completely... I hear it and I can see the body going off to the side, and I was just like, oh, I didn't even notice the Pyroblast happen. Looks like Falstad will go ahead and fly into the bottom lane up against the Greymane, making sure he doesn't get any more of that extra wave clear. And the other thing to note here is we actually have stage dive from the ETC, so he's going to utilize that to, I believe, just kind of jump onto that backline, really, really get onto that Ariel. I think that's, in my opinion, that's what I would be picking it for if I was the ETC. But we do see that Aegis coming out from her. That's not surprising. And also the other thing to note here is Nazebo did finish his spider stacks. He's currently at 89 of the 170 for his Voodoo. Actually, power slide from Czar Salesman onto Aura here. A lot of damage going out, but it looks like she'll be able to get out just fine with the 2 healers right next to her. And actually, just something to note, we currently have Falstad trying to dual soak 2 lanes. I mean, I guess...
Yeah, it's not going so well.
The Crazy Ivan's going to go ahead and just pick up that camp in bottom lane. We actually have a little bit of a... Just Escaflowne actually going to be in this gate currently. Ooh, not going to get caught out by that whirlwind from Crab People, but a huge rain of vengeance coming out from the Vala. Gonna go ahead and stun out one or two members. We have a power slide coming in from Czar Salesman. Do you have Escaflowne in this backline? The Pyroblast is out, and it point blank hits and bodied by Crazy Ivan. Rain gonna be taking a little bit of damage, but there's the Crystal Aegis. The Emerald Wind will push them back.
Kill this time.
And it looks like they just 1-to-1 this. But meanwhile, in bottom lane, the other thing to note is we have this camp that's pushing. And it's, if this gets left alone, it looks like they do have the false stead rotating down there, but will it be quick enough? Do they actually? Okay. I thought that they might scout it out and go for the kill, but it does not look like it's going to happen. Especially, with 13s, they can realistically be very aggressive on the side of Insomniacs.
Yeah, the double global draft behind on the XP.
They're absolutely it's the map control from Insomniacs here is just really powerful. We actually have Kaiser gonna get rooted here. Brightwing coming down as well. The polymorph probably be there. Actually, a zombie wall to zone a couple of the members away. They're still chasing this though. They do get the slow onto him. They really, really want this kill. ETC gonna go ahead and stage dive into that backline. Crazy Ivan gonna be coming in here as well. Kaiser will be falling. Escaflowne though getting body blocked by Czar Salesman as well as Rain. So they actually lose the Falstead and the Arthas, and Uther is just now dying, so those, post-death healing, that just ended after they got 2 kills, and now they have a Mortar Punisher with a bottom lane completely opened up by that camp that was just pushing down here, so, I said it last time, but once again, this is just the best situation for Insomniacs, so long as they don't get a little bit too aggressive on these camps. I have to call you out there a little bit. It was a little, I got to put a little bit of disclaimer. They had very good control, but I thought they were going to dedicate a couple of members to help out ETC there. I think he was soloing that camp for quite some time.
Greyman was with them.
Oh, I did not notice that. Actually, he did, because he did die towards the end of that, or during the beginning of that engagement.
And ETC got caught with their pants down.
Whew. But are they going to hold? Oh, wow. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and hold the last one. They're going to push this lane up, and
it's a little weird to me.
It's a little risky, too, because, it's even talent tier. If Runamok can just get a pick off of this, Crazy Ivan is a little far forward currently. If they could have gotten a pick off of that or, get a separation off of Gust, they can completely turn this around. Now, they have to obviously get a 5-man wipe and, not let the other team get 1 kill. But at this point, Insomniacs, they're just going to go ahead and say, like, whatever, we'll just go ahead and open up this mid lane. And this is just some aggressive. This is really just aggressive, a little rude in my opinion. Take the one and march it down bottom lane. It's strategical, I understand, but
no, I think they didn't leave one person bot side.
They have ETC stage dive.
Yeah, but if he's not careful and they time it correctly, there might be no skeletons alive.
That is true. That is true.
No,
we actually have
okay, there we go.
So they rotate down here. They actually get the one that they need. Brightwing will get the phase shift in, which does give the vision for the team as well as just that pixie dust boost. And at this point, I want
to see them use these globals.
I'm waiting for that backline gust. I'm looking for that that big gust, because at this point, we've seen a phase shift. We've seen an Emerald Wind here or there, but nothing too crazy fight wise coming out from Runamok. Playing pretty safe in these engagements. They do have this gate, and in this this is their big defense. Now they are down to talent tier. That is the other thing to consider though. So they bait the Punisher over between the keep and the tower. This will burn it down a little bit quicker. They'll still invade a little bit here on the side of Insomniacs, but this Punisher should burn down. Actually, never mind. The Gust does come out. Smith'll going to get separated from the team. They lose Brightwing here. And the Punisher does go down. Kael'thas getting quite a bit of damage. They're actually finishing Convection stacks. Zebo going to get those spiders out onto Escaflowne. Their power slide out from Czar Salesman. Knockback will be there. They go ahead and confirm the keep, but do they stay longer, or do they just take the keep? Okay, they play it safe. They take the keep, and they get the catapult started in that lane. It is pushed up. Oh, Falstead going for a flight. No Gust, though, so just going to go for that clear. But at this point, these teams, the back and forth has been there. There was, for a second, Runamok, they got those picks off, on that Greymane and the ETC, and they got Kael'thas quite early there. And you thought it was just going to be, a little... it's just so much dominance coming out from Insomniacs, and I'm trying to word it correctly because it's the words aren't there, but just they're completely controlling the map. I mean, if you look at it consistently, Runamok is playing a reaction game. Insomniacs is just completely being, they're creating this. They're going ahead and they got that top camp. They know that Falstead, or excuse me, never mind. They don't know that Falstead flew up top lane. I thought he was actually showing up there, and I was like, well, they're gonna go. They're gonna go for a.
No, he's like, I don't want to be here anymore.
I thought they could see him, and I was just like, yeah, they go for that pick, but.
Oh, okay, he was backing.
But at this point, I'm just saying is like, they're constantly, having to react, and especially because of the fact that they're also down that talent tier from those extra 4 picks that they have on that side, as well as that catapult pressure that'll be in bottom. But at this point, we currently have them aggressing on this top lane with the camp, opening this up, and at this point, Valo's still in mid. We do have Brightwing in bottom. She does have that phase shift. The next Punisher will be in the mid lane. But either way, just still getting catapult pressure if they can get this keep. Double lane catapult pressure is strong, but even then, they can just back off because they still have the camp just to kind of take some damage while they just walk away. At this point, it's a very hard game for Runamok to have. I mean, they've really just got to respond to a lot of this, and that's the hardest part, is just figuring out a way in. Now it's even talent here. Brightwing will phase shift in. It looks like the members are
chance.
This is kind of the do or die situation.
This is the window.
If they can get this here, the polymorph does go out onto the ETC. They are starting to spread out a little bit here. Escaflowne is starting to get into this line, but the few members are just kind of coming around at this point. Czar Salesman in that back line just kind of pushing a few of these members back and forth. A huge Rain of Vengeance comes out from the Valo. They get the kill onto Arthas. Yes. And do we have Crazy Ivan? He will be able to get out, and actually, so we're just going to have that. Arthas will be the first one to fall very early in that engagement. But realistically, they're staying on this point, in my opinion, a little bit way too long. We do have that the stage dive in from the ETC, the dive in from Crazy Ivan, and it looks like they're starting to separate here. There is the gust back, but Rain looks like he will actually be getting killed by the flash miss, and I was like, oh, he's going to get out, and then just the auto attack was enough, but then Ara will be blown up as well. Looks like they're going to dive right into this camp. Meanwhile, they leave Kael'thas behind. He does have very good clear for the Shrine currently. Well, the rest of the team picks up this camp, so they're going to get dual lane pressure. This will push the top, while the Punisher that they're going to finish out here will be pushing this bottom lane. Another thing to note here is they are slow. They're about a half level away from 20, and Nazeebo is already prepared to take that level 20 talent too. So his damage will ramp up once they kind of open this up and even get the keep. So this last line of defense that they're going to have on the side of Runamok is going to be a very hard one. And it looks like it might get harder. The Emerald Wind comes out from Smithel, and it saves them at the last second. Escaflowne will not be falling there. Does tap well, gets healed up a little bit, but at this point, they're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing they did last time. They're going to burn down this keep. Or not the exact same, but they're going to burn down this keep and make it way easier because they want to end with this Punisher. They have also got 20s too. This is a real hard situation for Runamok to be in. I'm trying to like look at this at all the angles, but realistically, getting the experience to get closer to 20 is so hard because you don't want to push out too far here, because then the team just rotates with their 20s and just dives right on you. They pick up the camp, and this is a Punisher in the mid lane with 20s, and at this point, Runamok, they posture up by their keep, and they get ready for the final for the big defense.
They had a window, and afraid the window is closed.
We do have the phase shift going in from Brightwing at this point. We'll provide a little bit of vision. The dive in onto Escaflowne here. Gonna pull him over away to this top lane keep, so that one will get a little bit of shots out. But at this point, the other thing to note here is we have a camp pushing down the bottom lane. We also have, pushing down mid lane. Punisher is currently walking out of the core. The jump is onto Smithel. Oh, no. He's so low. The Crystal Aegis does come out. There's also the gust from the Falstead. They actually get the 2 healers out. There will the stage dive in from the ETC onto that back line. They start to get the Punisher is dead, but they're currently working on this core. Escaflowne is in so much trouble at this point, taking so much damage. There is some healing that's coming out from the Army of the Undead, and they're currently holding this back, but it looks like Arya will be falling here to Kael'thas. Kaiser a little bit low. He actually, I think, will be getting the kill onto Arthas there, and it looks like the Pyro Bomb is out onto Rain. It does confirm the kill, and they move on to this core. That'll be a 2-0. Insomniacs take it, and they will be advancing into the semifinals for the NGS Division B.